Brian, do you and the family want to join us? For the last 4 or 5 days, there hasn't been much on the minds of Detroiters other than 2-year-old Bryson and the Christian family. This is a tragedy that has rocked all of us in this city, is today holding the Christian family in their hearts. The worst call I get is the one I got from Chief White late Thursday night to say we had children shot. And he called back after midnight to tell me that we'd lost a 2-year-old from this community. And it's just so difficult to accept. And in the days of grief that have followed, I thought the clearest statement that was made by Bryson's father, Brian Christian, who said he wanted Bryson to be the face of freeway shootings. And when you think about that, it's a statement that says we are not going to accept this as normal. The idea that children are killed in our community, the idea that people go up and down freeways shooting at cars without regard to who might be affected, this cannot be accepted. As a community, we have to fight back. I don't have enough good to say about the job of the state police, the Detroit police, and the entire group that did the investigation, because as they have shown, it wasn't just Bryson who was innocent. The Christian family was innocent. It was a mistaken identity of a car, an innocent family shot at by somebody too reckless to know who it was they had a beef with. But when Mr. Christian said he wanted things to change, Chief White and I got to talking about that. And as Chief White started talking to suburban chiefs, there's a whole lot of cities right now that are dealing with this issue, that somewhere along the line, these shooters have decided that it's easier to engage in shootings on freeways, less likely to have witnesses than when you go down a residential street with folks sitting on their porch and the telephone cameras going. And we've seen a rise in this behavior, and it endangers everybody. And so Chief White has already started reaching out to the suburban departments. And as you're going to hear in this case, the investment that we made in the camera systems and the green light systems is the kind of technology that we're going to need if we're going to keep our community safe. And so as Chief White and I were talking about Brian Christian's challenge, we talked about the fact that just 3 or 4 weeks ago, you were seeing videos of brawls in Greektown. And people were talking like, this is normal, this is acceptable. Chief White in this department didn't find it acceptable. They came out with an action plan. We deployed officers, we used cameras, we did it in a broad strategic way. And 2 weekends ago it got better. Last weekend it got even better, and you have an amazing system now where officers in Central Command are watching on cameras, and when they see somebody with signs of a gun, they're radioing to the police on site. They're picking these folks up. They're making these arrests. They are changing the system. And I believe this, that the loss of Bryson is going to affect this community for a long, long time. But it's also going to motivate a much more intense strategy to have the departments work together, to use technology to its fullest extent, and to prove that we're not going to stand for that. And with that, I want to turn this over to Chief James White.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you all for being here. You know, I was thinking about all night last night the situation, and I wish I had words for the Christian family. I don't. This is unacceptable. People ought not live like this. This is a horrible situation. The way that Mr. Christian has conducted himself in this is strength that I've never seen, and he should be applauded. Again, good afternoon, and thank you all for your continued support, and I'm going to get through a number of individual thank yous. But the reason we're here today is to talk about what has happened. We have a number of evil predators in our community that are focusing on our children, that are indiscriminately firing weapons, and enough is enough. And we, as a police community, are fed up. The community should be fed up, and I know they're fed up because I've received calls about this case more than any other calls that I've gotten since I've been back, is talking about this case and what can we do. We do need the community support, and we must get these evil predators off the street. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that later, but again, this must stop. Sadly, our children are being taken from us, and not only are these acts of violence just random, bad actors are able to talk other bad actors into bad acts immediately. I mean, no one's talking anybody out of bad acts. So now you've got two people that are going to prison, and their families that are being, victimized by what they've done to other people. And again, this must stop. Words are inadequate. I don't have comforting words for the Christian family other than to say that we will never forget little Bryson. We will never forget what happened to him. This is a beautiful family that was leaving a family event. They took their kids to play basketball. And this is a husband and wife and two children in a vehicle. Any of us leaving a facility, driving home, minding their own business, husband, wife, two kids in a car seat. And what the officers had to see, what this family had to see in that car seat will live with us for the rest of our lives. It must stop now. And if you care anything about this community and you care anything about what has happened to little Bryson, it's imperative that you speak up and let us know where these predators are. I would like to invite the Christian family up to say a few words, and then I will come back to make some comments. Mr. Christian, would you like to come up and say a few words, please?
First off, I want to thank MSP and DPD for collectively coming together. It all started with them. That's what this is all about, coming together for one common goal. So the way that you guys just acted and put this case together fast to help us find peace with the situation, I couldn't thank you guys enough. It just felt good to know that everyone was taking the all hands on deck approach, and this is just the beginning for us. I keep saying, I feel like none of my family was supposed to make it out that truck. I keep replaying the incident back in the back of my mind and replaying it and thinking what I could have did differently. But the conclusion that I came up with was, I don't think I could have. If I'm with my family, coming from a family event, and my wife and both my kids are in the car, and Bryson is in his car seat where he's supposed to be, I was doing the right thing, and I find peace with that, and when the situation happened, I just kept saying, what did I do for someone to want to kill me and my family? I do everything the right way, and I just kept thinking back, why would somebody want to do this to me? What did I do? And I couldn't put it together, and what would have tore me up more than anything, I probably wouldn't be here today if I would have found out that somebody killed my baby over something that I did. So with the police department getting that information out there of mistaken identity, that closure right there was huge for me. Like that's why I'm here today, because if I would have found out that, you know, it was something that I did, there's no way that I would have been able to live with myself. Like, no way. You know, I just want you guys to continue to pray for my family. I'm happy to hear about the new procedures that's going to go forward with the freeways. That's going to be huge. And my family, we definitely appreciate you guys' support. If anyone wants to, a lot of people have been asking about donations and everything like that. We do have a GoFundMe account set up. It's hashtag Justice for Bryson, Brison. So if anybody wants to help contribute, it doesn't matter amount, you know, whatever you guys can offer, we appreciate it. You know, and you know, just continue to pray for my family, and you know, and support us, and you know, we're going to continue to support the community. And I know, you know, now I feel like I found my new calling card. You know, I feel like now, you know, like I always had a good heart, but now I feel like I have a voice to push for change. So I'm going to continue to keep my son's name alive, and I'm going to continue to do the right thing for the community. You know, I love Detroit. You know, I've been here my whole life, and you know, that's why, you know, I bring my kids here, because like it's such a beautiful place, and I want my kids to, you know, be around the city and know where they come from. But you know, I don't want to hold up too much time. I appreciate everyone. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for those words, sir. Again, there's no words that we can say that will comfort you in this time. Just know that this department is with you, and one of your family members is our family member in the police department. Bryson's uncle is a member of the Detroit Police Department, so it's, you know, certainly even more impactful for him to be here today. So thank you very much. In response to a number of these issues that's happened on the freeways, today I'm announcing Operation Bryson. And what Operation Bryson is going to be is a coordinated effort with neighboring police agencies that have freeway veins that run through their community. We're going to partner. We're going to use eyes in the sky, air support, and we're going to provide patrols on freeways, Detroit and other agencies, to ensure that we're looking out for road rage incidents, violence. So situations like this, I won't say won't happen again, but certainly we will have the necessary attention to make sure that they're at least reduced, but hopefully eliminated. I want to thank the Michigan State Police for their tireless efforts. I want to thank the Detroit Police Department, the Detroit Police Homicide Section, our federal partners, specifically the ATF and others, that put tireless hours into this work. I can tell you that there wasn't a time that I didn't reach out to the deputy chief over our investigations, Marlon Wilson, where they were not working. I don't care what time of day or night I wanted an update. They were answering the phone, wide awake and ready to provide me with those updates. So thank you, DC, and thank you, Michigan State Police. At this time, I'm going to bring up Lieutenant Shaw to provide some updates.
Good afternoon. Usually I'm not a person of little words, but I sat down to try to figure out exactly what I was going to say, especially knowing that the family was behind me, and I had absolutely nothing as a father, as a police officer. The one thing I do want to say is this was not your fault, not your family's fault, nobody's fault. I don't think I could follow up what he had to say any better, so what I want to do is announce a couple of things. The prosecutor's office announced charges today on 2 individuals. Darius Lanier, he is a male, 19 years old, from Detroit, and Eugene Hubbard, 20-year-old male from Detroit. She authorized charges on the following. And sorry I have to read it, but they gave it to me right when I walked in the door here. Murder in the first degree, assault with intent to murder, 3 counts, discharge of firearm from a vehicle causing death, discharge of firearm from a vehicle causing injury, and 8 counts of felony firearm. It is my hope as I was walking in here that they were going to be arraigned today at the 36th District Court. I'm not quite sure that they have done that, but normally we don't announce things before the arraignment, but I thought it was important that we were able to tell the family here and all of you beforehand that we got 2 of these folks under wraps now. I can't get into a lot of details yet about the investigation because it's still ongoing and there may be other arrests that come down the road. But I can tell you that our detectives, top notch. I don't think I've seen any of them go home. The work of the Detroit Police Department, anybody that talks about the green light camera system just doesn't know what that did for us to bring these 2 people into custody. People just don't know. I mean, you can be upset about it, you can say what you want about it, but I know that we locked up 2 people today with the help of the green light system. And anybody that would like to come discuss that with me, they have an open invitation. I'll be more than happy to discuss the green light camera system here. Finally, I just want to wrap up a little bit with the amount of shootings that we're seeing everywhere. And everybody says, well, it's Detroit or it's Chicago, it's the urban areas. In Brighton, we had a family member have a dispute and settle it with a firearm. We had an officer-involved shooting on the other side of the state with one of our troopers. We had an officer in Flint that was confronted by somebody during a parade. Gun violence must stop today. And it's not just us. This is a community effort of all of us. Talk to your kids. Know where they are. It's part of the community's responsibility to make sure that we bring this to justice. We can do almost anything if we work together. I don't want any more phone calls about kids being killed on our freeways, in our city, in our state. Please talk to people. If you see something, tell us. This no snitch thing is stupid. That's the only word that I can come up from it. You don't want to be the next family that stands behind me. You don't want to be the next family that's on Crime Stoppers talking about you need tips to figure out who killed a family member. This is on all of us to stop it today. Mr. Mayor, Chief, we welcome you onto the freeway systems that help us. The more cops out there, the better. And we're going to continue until this stops. There is always one guarantee I will make you is if you commit a crime here in the metro region and DPD or us get involved, you're going to jail. Going to jail. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant. And I agree. Families shouldn't have to be fearful of riding on the freeways, and that's what Operation Bryson is about, is honoring this baby who didn't get an opportunity to live and to do things that we take for granted now. Didn't get a chance to go to school, didn't get a chance to graduate, but his memory will never be forgotten, and this operation will honor him. At this time, I'm going to bring up one person, Mr. Bennett. Mr. Bennett I first met at Ceasefire a few years ago, and he had a very impactful commentary about violence and supporting each other. And I asked that he be here today. We enjoy a fantastic relationship with our community. As you can see here, you've got the Board of Police Commissioners present. You've also got Pastor Mo, who's a constant supporter of us and certainly a supporter of us doing the right things and being accountable to the community. So thank you for being here as well. But at this time, I'd like to bring Mr. Bennett up for a couple words.
Let me say that this is an uncomfortable position to be in. This is uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable to ever talk about violence. It is uncomfortable to talk about killing. It is extremely uncomfortable to talk about killing kids and babies. This is not a position I want to be in. For over 4 decades, I have served the city of Detroit. I was a servant leader, but first I served. Leadership is not something I wanted in this type of forum, but I've been thrust up to the front about this. It is unacceptable. And I'm really speaking to the community. I'm really speaking to young men, older men, and some women. For 40 years, for 4 decades, I've made sure you got a second chance, a third chance, sometimes a fourth chance. I want our babies to have one chance at life. I believe the city of Detroit deserves a second chance at what a peaceful community looks like. And for that to happen, we have to get rid of the I, and we have to be a we. We have to do things together, community. We got to have some tough, uncomfortable conversations with people that we're not having. You know these weapons are in the house, they're under the bed, they're in the cars, they're in the garage. We need to have uncomfortable conversations with folk that's making it uncomfortable for us and making it impossible for our kids to enjoy outside. You want to talk about youth obesity? It's because they can't get out of the house. They can't enjoy their own neighborhoods and communities. For the last 3 weeks, as part of Force Detroit and others, including Ceasefire, including Pastor Mo, including other people, we have walked city streets every Friday night from dark to midnight. Some people have joined us. We're going to be out this Friday, and we're going to combine those routes to one route on Davison. And we're going to meet at Rosa Park in Davison, 8:30. We started walking at 9:30. Now, people have said, why are you out there walking at night? It's unsafe. That's the point. That's the point. We should be able to walk in our community at night. We should be able to jog. We should be able to go to the store and all that. And that's what we are saying, that we need help. It should not be the men in blue to make communities safe. Communities make communities safe. They come in when it's already happened. We know it's going to happen a lot of times, and we're not speaking up. So we got to have uncomfortable conversations. You guys that's in this community that's using those weapons, and you know I know a lot of you guys. I know your dads. I know your uncles. They all have come across my desk to me. We need to take accountability for what black men are doing to this community. You holler about us 83% black, then act like it matters. If you can't protect what you love and respect, protect what we love and respect. But we're going to walk, and we're going to keep walking, and we're going to keep walking until we get this done by any means necessary. It is uncomfortable now. It's been too long, too. Uncomfortable. And you can't keep blaming it on other people that's sitting in uniforms and things like that. We pointing the finger at you. When you got a finger pointed at the police, you got 3 pointed back at you. We need to have some tough conversations in this community, starting now. And they start in your household. They don't start on the street. They start in your household, because you're allowing this stuff to fester. And I'm calling you out. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm calling you out. Fathers be fathers, men be men, leaders be leaders, and let the boys sit down and put them guns down so everybody can live like God intended us to live. And so again, this Friday, 8:30 we assemble, 9:30 we start walking, or thereabouts, 14th and Davidson. Then we go back. We're in 5 communities, walking the street. And you wouldn't believe how many people come up and pray with us, talk to us, walk with us, because they want this too. This gentleman should not be standing here talking about his kid being buried. That kid needed a second chance. This family needs a second chance. Give Detroit a second chance. I've given you second and third chances for 4 decades. Now I'm asking for something back. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. So today marks my 4th week back at the Detroit Police Department. In the last 30 days, we've made over 600 gun-related arrests and recovered 750 guns. Let me read that again. Today's my 4th week. Today. 600 gun arrests, 750 illegal weapons off the street in 30 days. I'm going to make a commitment. We're going to use every piece of technology we have to constitutionally get violent offenders off the street. If you use a vehicle, you do a drive-by, we have over 100 crime analysts working for us at our Crime Intel Center. We're going to pull video from every source we can. Every source. Ring doorbell, cell phone, green light, private citizen, every piece of video. And these expert analysts are going to compress that video, and we're going to identify who's doing this violence in this community, and we're going to make an arrest. We're not playing around. Enough is enough. And if you want to go to jail, we will provide you with that opportunity. It's a choice. We have to protect this community. People have a right, a civil right, to live safely in this city. And if you choose to violate their rights and you choose to carry illegal weapons, it is this organization's responsibility to ensure that you're off the street so they can enjoy living in this city. Behind me is Deputy Chief Hayes, who's just been promoted to our Crime Intelligence Center. He's going to be working with Deputy Chief Marlon Wilson, who all of you are familiar with. He's worked in investigations for a number of years. They've been put on notice that every single time there's an incident involving weapons, involving vehicles, that they're going to use the Crime Intelligence Center to compress any available video that we have in this city and to leverage all of those resources in the apprehension of any violent predator in this community. It happened with this work, and it's going to continue to happen. Last thing I'm going to say before I take some brief questions is we're not the only city in the country that's facing this uptick in violent crime. We all see it every day, but it's still unacceptable. And we need our community's help. We've got a fantastic relationship with our community. And we want to leverage that relationship to get these violent predators off the street. If somebody shoots somebody and gets away with it, this so-called street code doesn't work. A shooting is an unsuccessful homicide, which means they're likely to come back. So we need your help getting these violent predators off the street. Thank you. I'll take just a few questions because we've got to get back to work.
I had a couple quick ones. What other cities, if you're ready to announce, are part of your initiative?
I don't think it'll be fair to them yet until they sign the MOU, but just know that I've talked to a number of them. I'll be announcing something as early as Thursday.
Okay, if I could have a couple more questions. Do you have an update on shootings and homicides year to date, where they stand versus last year?
I did not bring that information with me. I can get it to you, though. It's no problem.
And I have two more if I could. If you could address the no snitch a little bit more on that. That's a constant thing with you guys battling this culture. How do you fix that?
You know, that so-called no-snitch culture, when I was growing up, it came with something else. It came with, we don't hurt our kids and we don't hurt women. You know, people conveniently forget that part of it. Well, I've got a dead young lady named Tanya yesterday who was found with her child, and I've got little Bryson. So if you're going to talk about the no-snitch code, then protect the babies and the women.
My last question, I'll shut up. Lieutenant Shaw, you had mentioned during the most recent rash of shootings that green light may be pushing some of these guys, and I'm sure you've heard that. Could you make either both or one of you address that? Is green light so good that it's people are saying we're going to get captured on video, so we're taking this to the freeways?
Sure. So green light's awesome. I think I made that pretty clear before. But like with any other technology, we also know that where we put a concerted effort into crime, crime moves. Criminal doesn't know any type of lines whatsoever. So if we put a concerted effort in one way, crime moves to the other. That's why it takes a concerted effort between all of us. There is not enough police officers in the entire country to stop crime. There isn't. But there's a concerted effort between all of us law enforcement agencies to stop crime wherever it goes. So yes, green light is an active, beautiful tool that we can use for this. Our MDOT cameras that we have in the freeways is a tool to use for this. But right now we're seeing this type of violence everywhere, not just on the freeways, not just in the urban areas, across the country. And it's the same thing that we're seeing everywhere is people have trouble de-escalating incidents, and they're using guns to solve being disrespected. They're using guns because somebody didn't use a turn signal. They're using guns just to settle every argument whatsoever. And I think everybody will say it's guns, guns, guns. Guns don't walk out to where they're going on their own. Guns get carried by a person that's supposed to have some intelligence, is supposed to be able to deal with this stuff. And then again, I think the chief made it clear, and so have I on behalf of MSP. If you commit these crimes, we're going to find you, and you're going to go to jail.
Lieutenant Shaw, hi, Eli Newman, WDET. I was wondering if you could, to the best of your ability, explain how green light was used in this particular case. I think a lot of people think of those cameras being set up, around the city and not necessarily on the freeway. So could you explain that a little bit more?
So let's get through this prosecution first. Maybe you'll hear a little bit in the courtroom.
Fair enough. And a question for Chief White. Regarding so-called evil predators, I guess I'm wondering, is there a commonality between what we're seeing with shootings that are happening in the city? Is there an organized crime element of it, a drug aspect of it, or I think your predecessor used to say that it used to kind of be part of disputes among people who were familiar with each other?
Like I said, it's been 4 weeks. I would love to be able to do that deep dive analysis. We've started it, but we really haven't been able to get into the weeds of exactly the commonality of the victim perpetrator, other than when we do the initial investigation and what the detectives find out, whether or not they know each other and that type of thing. But if you're asking me what's driving the crime, a lot of this is impulsive decision making. It's bad choices. It's people misidentifying people on the freeway and using a weapon to shoot into a car filled with a family of 4 leaving a basketball game. I mean, how do you unpack that? I mean, that's just poor choices, poor decision making. And there's 2 young men now that their families are affected too, right? I mean, they're going to prison hopefully for the rest of their lives.
Chief, thank you. Simon Shaquette from Channel 7. As part of your plan, do you intend to hire more police officers? Do you need to hire more officers? And even address things like pay to keep more from leaving?
Simon, this isn't about pay for police officers. This isn't about more police officers. As you know, we're hiring, and we're going to continue to hire. That's not what this is about. This is about violent predators. We've done fantastic police work. Our resources were not a problem getting these violent predators off the street the past 48 hours. I'm very proud of the work that they've done. One has nothing to do with the other. Okay. Thank you. We got to get back to work. Last question.
In regards to the double homicide that took place yesterday, is there a motive behind the suspect?
Are you speaking of the don't know motive? We do have a person of interest that we're looking at. Give me a second here to get my notes. The 18,000 block of North Lawn. Yes, we have a person of interest, and the team will provide you with a photo unless you want to bring it up now. This person that we're looking for and we need help finding is Orlando Whitfield. He's a 32-year-old male. Again, Orlando Whitfield, 32-year-old male that we're looking for. If anybody out there has any information, he is a person of interest at this time, and we'd like to speak with him.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you all.